my name is Camisha Jackson from Corroded, and you're watching Metal DNA. I'm here to talk about one of the most influential people on metal and who had the biggest impact on metal, and I picked Chuck Schuldiner. Now I'm only going to talk about the death era, especially his debut album, Scream Bloody Gore. So his debut album, Scream Bloody Gore, debuted in 1986. Why was it so genre defining? Because at the time, death metal was not defined as a genre yet. So we had heavy metal, like Venom, which is a band from Britain, who had elements of death metal, but like I said, it wasn't defined as a death metal genre yet. So when they put out the album Scream Bloody Gore, it was very technical, with melodic riffs and lyrics that talked about horror or horror-themed lyrics. Now, a whole bunch of people in the 90s, a whole bunch of bands, I should say, in the 90s came and tried to copy Death's sound. So that's how he got the title, The Godfather of Death Metal. So, if you're a pioneer of a new genre, what are some obstacles Chuck would have faced? Well, he faced label issues, and for a while he faced some infamy, but you cannot deny that with his genre-defining music, he was fearless, he was courageous. Because what's stopping people from doing something new is usually fear. Also, with something totally new, he had to be creative and think outside the box. And that's what he did. He just combined the elements that were missing from, well, not missing, but that wasn't defined, that heavy metal had at the time. They just combined them to make the genre. Plus, also with something new, it forces you to grow, it forces you to be a new person. And Chuck was so humble, and he did not take the title as the Godfather of death metal, but he had a vision. He was ahead of his time, even back in his time. If Chuck was still alive today, in present day, he passed away from cancer December 13th, 2001. He would have been ahead of our time. And now, since so many people are releasing independent albums, singles, he could have just been on Bandcamp and he could have just released death metal albums or singles himself without having a label to back you. And I think that was one thing that Chuck had an issue with, was that he needed a label to back him, to put out his stuff, to put out his creativity. So, yeah, Chuck wanted to just make music for the fans. And the labels kind of hindered him from that. So that really stopped him from his growth, his personal growth. Which, later on, he did leave Death to form another band. But again, I'm not going to talk about it, I'm just going to talk about the Death era. Chuck was a visionary with his sound, and after his passing, 1,000 artists came out and cited him as an inspiration, including lead vocalist Curry from Slipknot. He even has influenced me in the way that my death metal sounds. Because I listen to Scream Bloody Gore and Leprosy a lot. So it isn't to say that Chuck has had and will have an influence on bands and musicians like myself in years to come. And it's a good example that we can all take from Chuck. No matter how big your music gets or how big you get, you just do it for the love of the music. And that is why I think that Chuck is one of the most influential people in metal. This is Misha, signing out.